Good evening, everyone. My name is Wahid Lutfi. Today is April 26th. It is at 7:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm going to just provide you the tutorials for Linux Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 9. And it's a virtual machine. So let's get started. If I go to the slideshow, you can see this presentation. Basically, I'm going to teach you or mentor you intermediate level of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And the version that we're using is 9.1 to be specific, and it is going to be on a virtual machine. So without further ado, let's go to the Windows operating system. As you can see, this is my Windows operating system. This is my desktop, and I'm going to start off with the virtual machine. To start the virtual machine, this is a Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9, and you can see this power off. So in order to start it off, I'm going to click on power start. This is going to start it, and you can see the interface comes here. It is saying that it is currently powering off. So I'm going to click on the switch to go to scale mode. And this screen, I don't need it because the auto capture information, this is notification. I can say that's fine. I just want to see the full screen. At this time, it's booting. Since it's booting, it's just going to open up my desktop session. So I'm going to log in. You have to type in the password correctly. Once you type in the password correctly, you're going to be presented with Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9. The way I know I'm on Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 is that I could just basically type in on here on the terminal, or click on here, open a terminal, whichever one you choose, it's going to open a terminal here. And notice that it shows my user ID at the local host, and then this tilde is the home directory, is current directory, which is home Wahidullah, and my ID is Wahidullah. User ID is Wahidullah, group ID is also Wahidullah. The user ID is 1000 in numbers, and then the name is in names is Wahidullah. And then group ID is same thing, 1000. So I'm going to log in, and then I just want to see first the etc. When I concatenate or cat etc red hat dash release, because this is a Red Hat release version, it just shows that I'm running Enterprise Linux 9 release of 9. So, and the code name is PLO, and then I could clear a screen by pressing Control L, or simply type in clear. But at this time I say the Red Hat dash release shows me the operating system information. If I want to get it in details, I could say OS dash release. This file is a little bit more information. The first file was just giving me this output, only one line saying Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And the second line, it gave me the details of the version and the company URLs and everything else. So at this time, let's just clear the screen by typing clear command. And then we already know that this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to just go to a directory here. Since I'm on this directory, I'm going to do cd to programs here, and then do ls-l. Notice that I have a list of files here. So I'm going to go to the directory where it says shells, cd to shells, and clear screen again, clear screen. And then here I am on this directory, clear screen again, ls-ltr start.sh. I want to see at the bottom the name of the files that are starting with .sh. So I have an intermediate file there, as you can see at the bottom, that I wrote it for this purpose. So let's minus LD star intermediate. And then this one is there, but I don't want to see this prompt, all of that one, so much information showing, which is actually coming from this $ PS1, prompt shell 1, echo $ prompt shell 1. It is saying that /u for user, which is this user ID, Wahid Dullah, and then /h, the host is going to be the local host. So if I type in host name here in lowercase, host name, you could see that it's localhost. And then that's tilde, which is /w, is the directory that I'm currently on. This, whatever directory I cd to it, that would be my print working directory. PWD stands for print working directory. I can also do echo $PWD, that environment variable is also pointing to the same directory. So if I go one level back up to the programs, my PWD is pointing to programs, and also my echo PWD. Again, I go back to shells, and then this time PWD is pointing to that, and PWD is pointing to the same thing. So clearing a screen again and coming back to this directory. At this time, I'm gonna show you that $ PS1 is set to that. I'm going to change that one first to only have a point to the $. So you don't see this extra information all the time. It is a little bit annoying when you're not on a production machine and you're doing demo. So we can run the command to produce those outputs. So I'm gonna say export PS1 is equal, and then I'm gonna put the $, the space, and that. Now my prompt changed to that. So if I say echo $, PS1, you can see that it is just the $. Earlier it was this. But if I go open another terminal, obviously because it's on my .bash RC, that information is still going to just take effect. And this one I changed it. So when I do a clear here, and then echo $PS1, and notice that I can do this one within the braces. Sometimes when you have a variable that has kind of spaces in between, it's good to use the braces, because when it interpolates it, the output is going to be parsed properly, rather than just this. And if there's some other variable after this one, the slash, it doesn't know how to do it. But this brace is going to help developers and sysadmins to just make sure that the variable that they are looking for the value, they get the right value. And on the later on videos that is going to be advanced levels, I will actually explain about bash or C and all the details of these environment variable. For now, just know that this environment variable is defined in the user's home directory. So if I go on my home directory by typing cd, there's a file called bash or C. The reason I have that bash or C is because when I do ID Wahid Lutfi, this one, sorry, clear screen. So let me just do the bash or C first. And then I do PWD here. If I say get int password Wahidullah, since I'm logged on as Wahidullah, then it knows that my bash is default shell is /bin bash. I can also get that one from an environment variable called shell. So whether I type in this one within brace or not brace, it still is going to interpolate it properly with /bin bash. At this time, what you're looking for, you know that, okay, you're on /bin bash, that means you have a file called the shell name, which is .bash, and then RC for run control. Inside this file, which is on the current directory of the user, .bash RC is the entire information. One of the file is also called etc bash or c. This is a system bash or c file. There's no dot in it, but inside this one is the ps1 is defined there. So if I just say clear the screen and say grep -i ps1, or just grep ps1 and uppercase from etc from .bash rc, it's not going to find it. But if I do that one from /etc, which bash rc calls it, then you could see grep ps1 from bash rc. Let me just put this one in uppercase. I think I have it in lowercase. Yeah. The reason because I did not put a -i. If you do this one with lowercase and you put a -i, meaning ignore the case, it will still find it. So you can see this line, it is just setting that $/ use at the host name and then home directory of this, and then from the pound, which was showing here. So every time I open this window, it just does that. And then when I close it, obviously I don't need to have this one, but I'm just going to have one for now. So you are seeing it. But this virtual machine on Red Hat 9, it has a lot of nice graphical user interface as well as command line options that you can run. And just terminal is one of your friends that you can run all the commands you want. And when you're done with it, you just close it. So I think this size is a little bit small. So I could do Control-Shift+ and it makes it a little bit bigger. I want it just not too big. So I can resize this window also. Let me resize this one. I'm going to I think I need to do one more Control+. So it's much bigger than this, because it's much easier to read it, watch it even on a cell phone or something, so you guys could enjoy the video when you're looking at it. At this time, if I do a pwd, it's going to say my printed working directory /home wahid-ullah. So I'm going to cd change directory to programs and then /shells. If I know the subdirectories under the programs, I can type it in all in one command rather than cd twice. Cd to programs and then cd to shells. If there's 10 directory down there, you could just type it all if you remember. But sometimes it's easier to type the command and then go there. So if I just want to do a list all the files with .sh, you can see the list is big. And in order for me to just run the same command without ls-l, that way you get the list on a horizontal way of this one with 2 columns. And then at the same time, the data will be showing in vertical while the columns are 2 columns there. So I'm going to do a clear this time. And instead of this, I'm going to say intermediate. So anything with that word intermediate. So if the file name is like that, then you can see that I'm going to get it. If I want to see a long listing of this file, I could say ls-l and then do this. Now I get a long listing of the file. And the long listing of the file, it has a lot of information here. Let me just size this window a little bit bigger, and all we are seeing here, I'm going to do one more. Sorry, I have to adjust this one a little bit more. Okay, that's good enough. So the file name is having this dash, meaning this is an ordinary file, a regular file. If this was a D, it would be a directory. If it was a L, it would be symbolic link. If it was a B for block file, it was a C for character file. This is the type of the file that this one is a regular file. This 9 characters that are there, the read, write, execute, RWX, the first three is for the ownership. If the owner is Wahidullah, meaning that Wahidullah has read, write, execute permission. The next three is for the group permission. In this case, the group is also Wahidullah. Normally, you have a different groups like a development group and whatever network, admin, DBA, sysadmin, sys group, whatever group that you belong to, operation, you will have those ones. So this file does not have any permission for the group, which means that if the owner is the same as the group, I have full access anyway. And then the third group, the third one is for others, other that are not user Wahid and other that are not the group Wahidullah. In this case, and there's one link to it, and one the name of the owner of the file is Wahidullah. The group is Wahidullah. The size of the file is this much bytes, and the date of creation is this with the timestamp of that, and the actual file name is this. You can also give this file information using a tab command. So RHEL, and if I press tab, since intermediate, there might be more files. Once I type in stat on this one, notice the stat command, which it might not be in the list of intermediate commands, but yeah, it is an intermediate level. If you know stat, this gives you statistic on a given file. So this intermediate file, it shows that, okay, I have a shell script, and then the permissions are set. Everything is showing what was above on one line is showing here. And so the name of the file name, the size of it, it shows. The block is 8 blocks, and then IO block, how many, each block is 1024 or 512. So 8 of them is 4096. And then the regular file, and then also the access modification permission. Since it is dash, but the first one is being 0, sticky bit information is not set. So 7 meaning that these two, 7. The next 0 is this 3. And then the next 0 is the next 3 dashes. So that means that they are not set. And then that's in octal format, and this is in character format. And if you have question on MyWebUniversity.com, I basically have an online class called The Direct Path to Linux Ubuntu. And that book actually covers everything. So if I go to MyWebUniversity.com, and here I have this book called The Direct Path to Linux Ubuntu. Everything is online, chapter by chapter. So the chapter 3 intermediate that I'm teaching you on Red Hat Linux, it's already on Ubuntu with all these table of contents, all the commands that I'm covering. You can actually go to them and then start learning. Some of them are commands that you can click on it, like df. I'm showing you how to use the df command here. And then it says, what is df? And then if I just make this a little bit bigger so you can see it better. And then if you just do a df-h, for example, it shows you this command run df-h, and here's the output df-h. This is on an Ubuntu server on my cloud at mywebuniversity.com. You're welcome to practice these ones. As you go for each command, I will run the command dynamically. It gets created, and then the output is produced on your browser. So you don't need internet, you don't need Docker, you don't need a virtual machine, you don't need a Linux machine. All you need is a browser and internet access, and come to my website and then start learning. So this is chapter 3, but I was showing you the change mode and change ownership and change group. So some of the documentation that when I'm doing it, if I just want to say, well, at this time you need to learn and how to do those permission. 7 means read, write, execute. 6 means read dash write, because this is 6 is 4 plus 2. The other bit is 0. And then this is 4 plus 2 plus 1, so it's 7. This one is 4 and 0 and 1. 4 and 1 is just 5. So this is how the formulas is calculated, and all those information I'm showing you example by example, so you can practice them and understanding them. At the same time, I make these videos for you on the chapter 3. So if you're learning this one, just watch these videos that are the entire 33 commands that I'm showing here. Example by example, I do it there. But this is on Linux Ubuntu version, as you can see. What I'm showing you today is on Red Hat version. This is Red Hat Linux Enterprise Linux, as we saw it. So some of the commands are a little bit different, but a different distribution have different set of commands. And the majority of the Linux and Unix operating systems, they do the same thing. If you're using, let's say, Solaris BSD or Mac BSD, or FreeBSD or BSD, 80% of the commands are the same. And then different distribution, if it's Oracle Solaris versus Mac, obviously the 20%, there are different set of commands, different set of file system, different file manager, different package handler, different RPM, different homebrew, different PKG, different commands. Similarly, on Linux, Ubuntu distribution versus Red Hat versus OpenSUSE, or any other distribution that you have been familiar with, you know that 80% to 90%, they're all system 7 on this one. And then the 20% are a little bit different with GNU packages that are there. Some of them, they have different kind of options for the same awk or knock. Some of them on Mac versus Linux is a lot different. So you have to learn it with different syntax. But I'm covering a lot of stuff, so you're welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I believe I already, let me just go here, youtube.com/@MyWebUniversity, MyWebUniversity. And then that one will take you to my YouTube channel. As you can see, I type in youtube.com/@MyWebUniversity is the handle for my channel. Last year, I believe YouTube came out with these handles to make to find your website, or your YouTube channel faster. So if you have a shorter YouTube channel, then it's gonna make it faster. Like for my son name, Mo Lutfi 10, he has a soccer channel, and then you can see that it is just coming faster there. And then let's just go back to MyWebUniversity. So you're seeing this handle, it opens it, and then you're welcome to subscribe and watch all these videos. I have more than 1,000 videos on the topic of Solaris, Linux, Mac, Unix, Ubuntu, Red Hat, a lot of stuff, programming languages, operating system, such as Windows, and then technical documentation, Perl programming, Python programming, C, C++, awk, shell scripting. A number of these videos are there that you can just start learning. So if I go back here, you see that all these videos on different platforms, how to install them, how to configure them, how to write documentation for PDF generated Linux documentation. Just this one is about 6,600 PDF documents on Linux Ubuntu documentation. And there's a number of other ones, so you can see that there's there. Let's go back to the training. We brought you up from change mode to this command. So now I'm back on the Linux. We were discussing the change mode. So the permissions, or the commands that you do change mode, change ownership, and change group. And I'll show you some of that one today also. So we did the step. Now I'm gonna clear the screen here. I'm gonna type in alias, and then as you can see, alias is one command that will just show all the aliases that you have. And this one is also read from your .bash rc. So if you wanna have a permanent alias like grep command with showing the color, then automatically you say grep this and the alias command itself. So the color command that is doing it. So now I don't have a command for clear. I usually type in clear here, but if I say alias and then I want to just create an alias, C is equal, and then I'm going to just say clear here. Notice that I created that one. Now, if I just type in alias, again, the clear is there. Clear again, and then alias by itself is going to give everything. But if I want to see only C, and then I say, oh, that's how it's defined there. So I could do a C itself, and it's going to clear it. Again, and the way that you define this alias, you could also do a tput clear. That's a longer form, but that also does clear screen. So alias now, alias C is now, clear screen. C, and then alias alias C, you can see that it is tput this. So the fact that I put the command, that command has to work. So if I type in tput clear here, that does the same thing, alias, and then C is also doing the same thing. So alias is a short form to point to a command that is long. Sometimes you do some find command or something that you are like, I wish I could just make a short form for this one. All I have to give a name of the file. Then on the alias, you can just do your find command. And I'll show you on that one when it comes to chapter 4 for advanced level, and with a lot of details. And then there's a find command that I'm showing you there. And just to be specific what I'm talking about, like here, these commands are covered on chapter 3 for intermediate. Then you go on chapter 4, the advanced level, there's about 44 commands here that you can see. I'm sorry, 88 commands that I'm covering here. And one of them might be find. Let me just see if I control F and then search for find. It might be somewhere there. If I didn't cover it, I'm going to cover that one with details. But I do have a video on the YouTube channel with find command to just show you how the find command works there. I'm sure I created that one long time ago. So you could just search for that one. And let me just show you on this one, we were talking about this command alias. So we have that one. Now I'm going to do a clear, and then remember the file RHEL star intermediate star.sh. This one was the file. So if I wanted to see -f on this, you could see that it has an asterisk, meaning it's a regular file. If this was a directory, it would be a slash there. And this star means it's an executable file because it is there. So if I say, show me the type of file this one is, what type of file it is, I could say file, and it says that it's born again shell, bash script. And it's ASCII executable. Executable meaning that executable bit is set. So that means that if I want to see the content of this file with RHEL9 dash intermediate, sorry, intermediate $, you can see there's about 42 lines in there. So let's just clear the screen again. And this time I'm going to run this script to see. In order to run this script, I could run it with bash -x, meaning that run the bash and debug mode. -x means executable. Even if the permission were not executable, I could still, if all was zeros, I could still execute it this way. This is going to run the line, and then it's gonna just, for each line it runs, it just gives you the line number, and then it tells you which what is the output. So I'm gonna Control C out of that one because I'm skipping the command for a little bit. I'm gonna run it without the bash, or and then I'm gonna run it like this. This dot means from the current directory, and this is the path where the file is supposed to be relative to my where I am at, which is I'm on the shell directory. So it runs that one. Now notice that this is the line number, and then it shows you that the command that I'm going to cover, each one of them. Because I made the screen a lot bigger than what I should have done, so I'm going to stop this one and then just open another terminal here, and then resize this window, and then just say export PS1 is equal, let's just have the $ here, that is as this. Now clear command, and then pwd here. I'm on the shell, so I'm going to say RHEL9 dash intermediate dash switch. So this says that I'm on this print working directory of shells. I want to run this script from that directory, and here's the output for it. So every second I run the command, and I show you what command I'm going to teach you today. There are about 30 or 33 commands. Each one of these commands I will cover in detail, and then you will learn them all. That is this file. And then, so the grep command, the what is, the group command, the gunzip, the egrep, the kel, the last command, the link command, ln link, whereas grep, pgrep. And then now it's gonna go about 2 seconds. It shows the what is section for each of those commands, and the output is shown below that actual command. So for each command I created, notice the way I'm using the banner to just make these fonts bigger. And for each command, I'm making a different color with the size and everything. Even though the banner command does not allow you, it just does not have any option that will just give you these kind of pound commands, or the hashtag as the output for every command. But notice that when it comes to 2, I just do something with 2, and if 3, the numbers, whatever is the number that I'm showing on those one, I just do for the first character of it. I just translate it from the pound to the number. And notice that it is, when it comes to 3, it will be 3's there, like that. And so all those commands are going to be shown. What is which, and then at this time the last command run. So the file that I was reading as input was called chapter 3. So if I go here, chapter 3 dash cmds.txt, this is the file that I was reading for. I'm going to clear a screen, and then instead of -L, and this one is the actual file that I was doing it. In order for me to show you that one, I'm going to just resize this screen a little bit bigger so you can see it nicer. I'm going to say more chapter 3-cmds.txt. So we could see that the alias command I already covered. The next command is basic calculator. Basic calculator is very simple. It just allows you to do calculation. So let me just clear it here. You say, what is basic calculator? It tells you an arbitrary precision calculator. So basic calculator has a number of functions and everything, as well as if statement, for statement, while statement. I'm not going to cover all that one, otherwise that would be the entire thing when it would be one video. But if you need like something from command line, you could type in basic calculator here, and then just do simple arithmetic, like 3 times 5, 2 plus 2, times 5 to mod 2. That's like to the power of exponential. And there's a lot of other ones like square root and other things. 10 divided by 2. You could do a number of them. You can also do the basic calculator in command line. So quit here. You could say echo 2 plus 2. If you just say 2 plus 2, it's going to display that one. It doesn't do. But if you pipe it to a basic calculator, it will do the computation. So if you do want to just say 2 times 2, it will, sorry, the times is a problem because the 2, the star, it was interpolated. You have to backscape it. So when you backscape it, like to the power of 5 is 10, and then that's how it is calculated. But if you do something like to the power of, this one would be to the power of 5 is 32. So this is exponential, like power of. So 10 would be 1024. So you could do that one in the basic calculator as well there. And then you could do also man basic calculator to get all the information. And then you can see there's a lot of functions that are involved here that you can create variables, you can do expressions, and you can, excuse me, you can do Boolean operators or and all those one for statement, if a statement, do while statement, break and do continuous, so many things. I'm not going to go through this because it's going to be a lot, the video there. So that was for basic calculator. And if I just do the same thing, clear the screen here, and then PWD, I'm going to say more. What was the command here? Let's just have this other window here. Yeah, I already have it here. The change group was the next command that I'm going to cover. Change group, change mode, change ownership. So here, in order to show you that, I'm going to just show you a file called, let's say, first ID is important. So if I just say touch a file called this, and if I look at the this, it just creates a simple 0-byte file. And then it has the ownership of the file. And based on the permission, there's a file called umask. Umask, and notice that umask is set to 002. That means if I create a file, it is actually 777 minus 002. So that means that for the executable, the permissions that are directory, this is for directory. So if I just, let me put a pound here, so it doesn't execute this command. And then I'm going to say for a file, 66 minus 002 for file. So now if I say touch Wahid, now I create a file called Wahid, a simple file. Notice I said the permission is 6 minus 0 is 6. So it is read is 4, and W is write is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. The other one bit is 0, so it is not set. The next is also 6, which is means read and write. 6 plus 2, 4 plus 2, which is 6. The next one, 6 minus 2, is gonna give 4. So this is only read. The other one is there. Now, if I create a directory called make directory test1, notice on the test1 directory, the permissions are 777 minus 002. Notice that 77 is 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is read, write, execute. Another 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is another 7, that's read, write, execute. And since the last 7 minus 2 minus umask is going to be 4 and 0 and then 1. So that's a 5. I'm sorry, yeah, 7 minus 2 is 5, and this 4 plus 1 is 5. This is 1 to the power of 0 to the power of 1 to the power of 2. The way it calculates it, this the 3 dashes, and 3 dashes meaning it's all zeros. So I explained that one in that timetable earlier that I showed you, but this means it's all dashes. All dashes meaning that it's there. If I have all of them as set to 0, 0, that means the first 3 is zeros, the next 3 is 0, and then all 9 are this. So if I just have have 7 0 0, meaning that read write execute dash 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 dash. So the first 3 is only read write execute. And if I have 7 7 7 permission, then I'm going to have I'm going to show you. Let's say I want to do 7 7 7, or the common one that everybody uses is 7 5 5 5. Which is read, write, execute, read, dash, execute, and read, dash, execute. So this is a 7 because it's read, write, execute. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is going to be 7. And then this one is 4 plus 1 is 5. And then this one is 4 plus 1. R is read is 4, and then X is 1. The reason is this is 1 because 2 to the power of 0 is 1. To the power of the next one is 1 is 2. To the power of 2 is 4. That's how this one is calculated. On that formula, I am showing you. So if you're looking at only 3 digit, let's say, just say read, write, execute. How is that calculating? It's saying 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is equal 7. Another 3 read, write, executed, we did the same. So if I just have read dash X, meaning that 4 plus 0 plus 1, that is equal 5. And then why is that one? Because the first one that is there, the 3 digit, the first one of these characters, whichever direction you look at it, from the right, you look to the left. So from the right, the first one in this case is 2 to the power of 0. Since it's a binary, it's either on or off. It is on, meaning that the value is set to X. To the power of 0 is 1. And then if it is off, then it's 0. So this one is not on. To the power of 1 is going to be 0. And then this one is going to be to the power of 2. To the power of 0 is 1. To the power of 1 is 0. Sorry. If it is set, it's meaning that you calculated. If it's not set, it's just 0. To the power of 2 is 4. So, and that is for change mode. And then now notice that I could just look at this directory test1 here. It's empty. But if I want to see the directory of it, I could say test1 here. And notice that I can do a stat on test1 also. Similarly, it tells me all the permissions and the access modified, when was last modified, and what was changed on it. If I change the timestamp of that file and say touch test1, notice that next time I do this ls stat, now it shows that different timestamp got changed. So anytime that it changed, like right here, it was accessed, and then right here was modified. The 2034 was created, and 2039 was updated there. So, and that's for change mode on permissions there. So if I go here and say ls-ltr, I created one file called Wahid and one file this. So if I say ls-l this, Wahid, and then test1. These three files are showing in a long listing. And if I do a -d, that way I can see them in this format. And if I don't do a -l, I could see them next to each other on this format. So at this time, if I want to just to say the permissions are good, everything, let me just change the ownership of this one to somebody else, or change the permission. For example, for the files the permission is read, write, execute. Because I have the ownership, I can just make this file to have a different permission. So change mode 666. That would be, no, let's not make that number. I don't like 666 as double number. So change mode 777. This. Now this file this has read, write, execute permission. If I want to just change that one to 755, then it's going to have a read, write, execute for everything except group and others are going to have read and execute only. So change mode 644. This was how it was originally, maybe, or it was 664 because the UMask for 002. UMask being 002, and when I create the file this, it is going to show like this. So now notice that if I say ls-l greater sign, create this file called this.txt. Now this is there, but this.txt has a content. It's not 0 byte because I created by this greater sign symbol, and it does write it. And notice the permission again is the same permission that 666 minus 002. 002 was the UMask. So it created read write by the owner, read write by the group, and read for others. That's for the change mode options. You have a lot of options here. So man change mode is your friend. You could do all kind of change mode. Usually I do it per directory or something. So if you want to do an entire directory, like for example, let's say make directory, clear the screen. I'm going to say make directory -p. -p create the path. So test1/test2/test3. I'm going to create all these three directories, ls-l or test1. Now notice that all three of them are there. So if I just want to change all of these permissions of all of them to just say that this is a directory, people should have read, write, execute, even though it's already set that way. But I want to just say only the owner should have read and execute. Other group and other ones should just have read and execute, but not, and the group should not write to it. Usually you want to have the group writable. But for the demo, I'm going to just change it, then I can change it back. So I say change mode, -r in uppercase means go to the directory and then change it to 755 and then test1. Notice that this did it, and then echo $? It already knows that this command succeeded. So if I just run the same command, notice that the permission are there changed. But if I want it back to what it was originally, which was correct, the group had read, write, execute. They had write permission, and now it is back to what it was. So you can change it with the -r recursively to multiple subdirectories. If there are thousands of files, you can do it. And then normally I do this one as admin. Sometimes you need to just look for all the files that are .c++. If they're extension of a source file, you don't want to make them source file as executable. but the binary should be executable. So then you can make them 644, and then you do a find command, search for all of those ones that are .c++ or .c or .py for Python or .f for Fortran. However, you just parse it and then you can just change them. And sometimes you can find out those ones very handy. And I'll show you on that advanced level on how to do those. So we did cover change mode. Let's do that change ownership. And then change ownership, if you're root, you have privilege to do anything with the ownership of these files. So if I say change owner of, let's say test1, I want to change ownership of test1 to some other user. I don't have another user. I have to create another user. But if I want to say root, it's not going to allow me. It says changing ownership, this operation not permitted. But if I sudo to root or just run this command with sudo privilege, and then I just say, yeah, you have sudo access, I could do this one. And then now it did it. So now if I just say ls minus ld test1, you can see the owner is root. But now if I just want to change it back, ID here, I have to do the same thing here with sudo. I cannot do it with my regular user. If I do it with regular user, because the owner is root now, I don't have the privilege. So in order to do it, I have to do sudo and then change ownership to Wahidullah. And notice that when you do that, one, you can do more than just ownership. You can do with the change ownership with group also. So you can say, do the sudo and change ownership colon. Let's say the owner, I'm going to say, and I'm going to change the owner and group together. So I'm going to say root. If I do that one now, test1 is already changed with that permission. And then if I want to just do it without typing sudo, I need to become root first. So this command says switch user to root. I could do that way, or su dash would be also there. So now I'm on root. ls minus ld test1 is there. Sorry, when you switch with this dash, means run the root profile. So since I run the root profile, my print working directory changed to root. That means that I have to be home, Wahidullah, and then programs, and then shells. So now I'm on that directory. Now I do ls minus ld test1, it shows up. And then now if I say change owner and to Wahidullah back, I want to change it back as Wahidullah, and then for test1 I could do that. And notice that test1 is there. So what if I just want to do more than that? So let's say R, you can see that everything is Wahidullah. I want to change everything here. With this ownership, I just do an uppercase minus R. And then on this one, I'm going to do minus R. And then I want to change the ownership of test1 and subdirectories from everything to root. Now, and the whole thing is changed to root. And if I want to change the group permission only to Wahidullah, you can just say here, instead of change owner, you could say change group, and then just say the group name. So instead of this one, you could say Wahidullah. Since I'm not saying a colon, automatically knows that I'm doing it for the user and with a group of Wahidullah. So now if I just do this, it shows that the group is changed. So I showed you the change group also. And then a change group also has a syntax of saying that if you want to do also the user Wahidullah with group root, you can switch. So notice I'm going to swap this one. say the ownership should be Wahidullah and the group should be root. And then you do that one at this, I type in invalid group. And so Wahidullah, oh, change group is looking for only group there. So you cannot do the combination of user ID. The change ownership has that one. You could do both of them. But so change group is going to do this. And then now, if I just look at the list, that this shows that it's there. So whatever you want to do, you're welcome to do it. Another format of change ownership, I could say minus uppercase R and Wahidullah dot Wahidullah, and then test one. That also takes the same place, and notice that whether you put colon or dot, it will know that ownership is that. So again, man, change owner is your friend, so you can see all the arguments there. Man and change mode, and then a man change group. And then if you're just on my website, you're looking for documentation, just go on the chapter 8 of the book. So if I go on the direct path to Linux Ubuntu book here, and you're using a browser, you're saying, Wahid, I am not always in front of a computer to get these man pages. No problem. I provided all of that on the internet for you for free. And this chapter 8 is just your friend. You go there and about 6,600 Linux PDF documentation. That's all in your fingertips. You just click on it and you just learn it. And then as section 1 through section 9, all of them are there. You can see. So if you're looking for like change mode, do Control F here, then type in change mode, and then change mode comes in, you click on it, and then you read this nice PDF format that I wrote it in Python, and that used the Linux manual pages. I parse it into a really nice format. So you're seeing that change mode and change ownership. And similarly, if you're on my website let me just go to MyWebUniversity.com, and then if you're looking for the documentation for anything, I showed you the change mode. Let me show you the next one. And the next one, you can also go on chapter 8 and then do a Control F here for the commands and change group. So the change group comes in and you start reading that one. Also, this one I have. Every command that you just search for it, it is there on the Linux, about 6,000 command. And then if you go change ownership, and then change ownership, and notice that it's 3 out of 8. So 32-bit, and then the file system change ownership, and L change ownership. Each one of them you do, and the one that you're interested in is this command in section 2 of change ownership of man pages, and it tells you how that works. Okay, so coming back to the list of commands that we covered change mode, change ownership, change group, and I'm going to clear the screen here, and I'm going to go back on this screen. We talk about the set of commands that we covered. Let's go here and say, and the next command is password. Password command is very simple. You just type in password followed by the root. You change the root password if you're root. If you are just doing another user like password Wahidullah, you just change that one, and then you gave the new password. Let's say I change it to the new password, and then I just say that is done. Now it says my password got changed. And usually whatever password that you just change it, it is these files get affected. etc password, etc shadow. The etc group does not get changed, but these are files that are related. So any modification to the user profile, it will just update those files, user groups, group without the S. So and the actual two files that gets modified are etc it is etc shadow when you're modifying the password, and etc group, etc password when you're changing the user ID or home directory or the name or something, user mod, user del. Those one will be covered in details. I'm not going to do a grep on the user and the password show you, but I could do it just to show you grep -I1, because this machine I don't run it all the time, so it doesn't matter even if you see it in this. And I'm going to change the password because I temporarily changed it to something that even if you know it, it doesn't matter. So this is an encryption format on the files etc shadow. So I'm going to look at the etc shadow, and then you can see it's a long encryption format. But clearing the screen, now I'm going to change that password again to for Wahidullah, and then I'm going to change it to whatever I want to change. So even if you were able to parse the thing, it's not going to be effective. So don't waste your time, please. And now the password is changed, and then that file is already having the password that I want to see it. And so the other thing that you could do with password, there's a syntax password -x-1, and then let's say root. If I don't want my root to be just expire after 90 days, then I set it to this. By default, there's a value for it on the last field, field number 7, saying that how long it's going to last. When you do this command, it's going to just make sure that the password does not expire. Normally, if you have 1,000 servers, you don't want to just the password expire because you did not log in on the server and you knew it every 90 days or something. So what you want to do is like some group accounts that are shared, you should still update them every 90 days because somebody leaves or somebody, wants to just memorize it and then they're no longer with the company. But when you're just changing some accounts that are group account, and this is just going to set the value. But don't just take all of this information as a advice. Make sure that you watch your company security and do it what your company security requires to do. So the password command we covered. The next command is compare. Compare is going to compare files. So this and Wahid, these two files are all 0 bytes. Compare this and Wahid, you can see there's no differences. So echo $, question mark. And notice that I'm doing it with root. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm on the current directory here. And then I say compare this and Wahid. It will do the same thing because there's no difference between them. And sorry, echo $, question mark. So that would just show you that the status was 0, meaning that it's successfully run. So if I do this one, compare this, and then do echo $, question mark, it will say that. So if now I just say, and there was a file called this.txt. Notice that this.txt had some lines of files on it, right? So if I just say clear screen, now compare this with this.txt, they're not the same. So say in the file on this, which is empty, one is empty, right? So I'm going to create 2 files here. I'm going to say echo, this is a test, and then I'm going to send this information to call this. Now cat this, cat -n this. I'm going to also say one line. I'm going to just say the same one and say this dot text. So now if I say ls minus l, this and then this dot text, they're both the same size, the same information written to it, 15 bytes. If I say cat minus n, this dot and this dot text, you can see that two files are the same. This is one line, and then the second one is one line. But if I want to say cat minus n this, and then cat minus n this dot text, it's all one line. So there's no difference. Compare should say there's no difference. And then echo $sign question mark, it did not find it. Now, if I change one character to that one using vim, I could say vim this, let's say I just changed this one to a lowercase t. Just now I noticed that the two files here, they're different. One is having one character different. So notice that this is that cat this dot text. The two file only one character, and it says this differ byte 1. The first byte it is different. So if I change it something else, obviously it will show the other one. That's compare command. And compress is the opposite of compress. So if you just have a file, clear the screen here. Sometimes compress commands are not provided on every platform. So we say which compress. If it is not defined, and then you have to use gunzip and unzip. So there's no uncompress compress command. Clear screen and say which uncompress, it is not there. But if you log in on an Ubuntu machine, I can log into an Ubuntu machine and just check it, that comes with it. So if it is not there, compress and uncompress, I could also say, since I'm running Ubuntu, Red Hat, I could say this is Red Hat version 9, so I say DNF provides, and then uncompress. So this one says that what is the package name that provides compress command. So if I have it on some package that I need to install it, then I could do it. And then here it says that you may want to do like a star this to see if it matched anything with that one. It did not. So I'm going to do another asterisk here, and then it might just find it, but it did not. So I'm going to search for compress. And notice that compress is a lot of the packages that are met. So what I could do here, say ben star ben and then compress to see if any package that has the binary compress here. Yeah. So this is compress here, and this is the package that have 9 RPMs upstream, and then okay, let me just see, make sure that that is a generic default one, compress. So clear screens, sudo DNF search for compress. I'm now trying to do a search on that one. I have to type in the password correctly. And then it's going to search for the package compress to see what it is there. And then all of the one that are there, one of them on this packages might be providing the compress binary. There's a lot here with all these things. So let's see if there's anything specific. Clear the screen, sudo install compress. I'm sorry, not sudo install, sudo dnf install compress. Let's see if that one just pull that package. It doesn't know how to pull that package there. And then uncompress. Yeah. So it is not there. Some of the commands that are not there with Ubuntu, if it is on another platform, you could just use them. But I rather use gunzip and unzip, and they are already there within it. And so which gunzip is there, which gun unzip is there, which zip is there. So a lot of these binaries, man, gunzip, for example, it does the same thing as compress there. Zcat is there. And, on these ones, sometimes they tell you the see also section of it, and tells you that you could just get the same thing. So you could do minus K, minus K, and then look for compress. Here you can see there's a number of them with this one. You see uncompress section 1 pages, expand compressed data. So it is there with uncompress. Let me just see, and then I could say grep, the first character says compress, match compress. And then you can see that section 1, man compress command here, it tells you that this is provided on Red Hat. But to find out what is the name of the package, usually at the bottom where it says see also section, it also gives you the package name. And so which compress is not there, but then you can see man uncompress, expand and uncompress. This is basically the manual pages for it, but why is it not coming with the standard, and where's the package name? There, that should be compress zcat. So maybe it is pointing to another binary you can use state. So what I could do here, use man minus K zcat, for example, and man minus K compress. So compress was a lot of them that are there, and then gunzip. So I'm going to show you a couple of these ones. For example, and instead of compress, you could use gunzip. So the way you could do it is you could just say, okay, let's just say star.sh. Here, every file that is there, if I just say word count minus L, there's 32 shell script. If I want to tar the map, I say tar cbf, all sh files dot tar, and then star.sh. So they're saying that everything that is .sh, you just tar it as that. So now I have a tar file called all-sh. Tar tvf all-sh.tar is going to show the files that I tarred. And then file all-sh.tar, it tells you that it's a tape archive. In order for me to look at the size of that one, all-sh.tar, notice the size of that one is about this many characters. So this is a tape archive. When I say gunzip all-sh.tar, is going to just put the same file with all-sh.tar.gunzip. It just puts it with the extension .gunzip. Now, if I say file all-sh, and then it just says that it's compressed and data. In order for me to unzip it, now I have to say gun unzip all-sh.tar.gunzip, Now it is back to this. And then file all-sh.tar, it is now tape archive again. So in order for me to just say, look at the content of that one, tar, all-sh.tar. And then I have to look at it with TVF, displayed in verbose mode for all of them. So now if I just clear the screen, make a directory called new, go to the new directory, notice I have nothing here, not anything. So I can say tar xvf dot dot, go to the all-sh.tar.ganzip, .tar, and zip it here. Now in the new directory, I have the entire directory filled out with .sh. Since I don't need it, I could just say clear the screen, go here, go out, and then look at the content of new. The new directory, or the same as the directory of star.sh. So I could say, well, I have this star file here. I can always just extract it. So the rm-rf new, I don't need the new. New is gone. So now it's no longer there. But the star.sh is here, and all the tar file is there. I can always extract it there. And if I can always create the compressed file there. So instead of the compress, we cover tar and gunzip and gununzip, a number of other ones. Xterm is a very cool command. You could just use my other videos on one. I put some other videos already on YouTube channel called cool Xterm tools and tricks that I did. But I'm going to show you a couple of them right here, since this one is provided by default. This one is more than Xterm stuff. So gnome dash terminal, it opens a terminal for you. Like a gnome dash calculator opens a calculator for you. Like gnome dash font viewer opens up the fonts. So you can get all the list of all these ones under. If you just say which gnome dash calculator, wherever is one of them, the rest of the binaries are all there. So if I say ls user ben gnome star, then it's going to just show all the commands that I can do. I just showed you a few of them. So software update and everything else, you could do that. But the one that we're discussing here is the clear the command, and then let me just exit out of this. When we were talking about the calculator, I was on this screen, and then here you could type in also Xterm. If you type in Xterm by default, it opens an Xterminal there. So Xterm was not installed. Then it's going to prompt you, say, do you want to install it? I say, yeah, go ahead, install it. You could do it this way, just to install it, and now Xterm opens and installed it there. So since it's done there, I say which Xterm, the binary is there. Now I say Xterm, it's just going to open a terminal for me. You could also, on the activity here, you could type in Xterm and just open this Xterm. This will just do the same thing. Similarly, on the activity here, you can type in terminal and then open this terminal and then run the commands. So we were on the Xterm. Xterm also has a number of other options. So minus BG for background, and then you can put a hash number HTML format, and you could say make it all red. Let's say I'm gonna just give a different color, like for the this one, I'm gonna just say red, and green is zeros, and then on the background is all red in this case. These two are gonna show red, this is green, and this is blue. Since they are 0, it's not going to present it. Minus foreground, you could also use the color like white, or just say white here, let's say, and then minus face, if you want to say the size of the font, what is the size of the font, and you can say background, so it opens that one in the background, and then you run here calculator or a df minus h, clear command, exit out of this one. I didn't like that it was too white, so you could just make it like 25. It would look nice, dark green, and then here, and if you don't like the size of it, just make the size to 20, let's say. And now it is a little bit bigger, but I want to say change the font to minus font, and then that's the actually font. FA is New York. I was typing FA rather than FS. I meant FS. FS for font size. FA for face. Face is the font in New York in this case, and then this one is 20. So now we have the color and nice looking there. So if I just say, and instead of this one, change this one to darkish green for 25, then it's going to just make it then green. And if I just change this one to let's say 15, and a little bit more darker, you could do that one however you want to do it. And then if I say make it blue, so this one is zeros, and then this one is, let's say 0, and then 20 for blue, it will be a very nice format. Calendar and date, uname minus a. You can see all of the cool stuff that you can just run on a Linux command, etc os-release, clear the screen, red hat -release, -release. So you do these commands and then say who am I, uname minus a, uname dash, say uname dash kernel name. So you can get uname dash kernel name. You have to type it correctly to get the right information. Uname dash o, and then calendar command, calendar 29098, clear screen, calendar 19070, the epoch calendar. So you could get these outputs really nice format here. Date command, pwd command, ls command, cat h.awk, that awk programming that print hello world. So you can do a lot of other stuff as well. And then let's just look at, close this one and then come back on the xterm. The xterm is going to give you a lot of options, and you can also run commands and get outputs, but watch the other video for more details. What was the next command that we want to cover here? I believe the next command here, chapter 3 -cmd.txt, sorry, clear screen, more chapter 3 -cmds.txt. So the next command we covered copy and cut and def. So copy and cut and def. Copy is very useful command. So I have this file this, and I want to create a file that, which I don't have it. I say copy this to that, and now I have two files, this and that. So the size is the same thing. If I want to copy this .text to that .text, and then I say copy this .text to that .text. Whatever you name it, it will just show that this dot text and that dot text. Notice the size is the same when you do this. So the copy command also has -R for recursive, -P for keeping the permissions. So if you want to preserve the permission, you do -P. And then -I sometimes interactively provided. And those options, man CP, you can see all these options that are there. You can just do this as you want to. Okay, so they're very simple, copy, move, and other ones. Cat command is to cut some content of a file. So let's look at the cat command. And there's a cat command with CAT, and there's which cat, this concatenate. This cat, it cuts some kind of format or some kind of fields of a string. So you say echo, this is a test, it will do this one. But if I say cut minus character 1 through everything, it will just write from whatever is on this output from character 1 through that. So now if I say character 1 through 5, then it only print this. Or if I just start from character 5 to the last one, then I say this. And if I want to say only get 5, 6, 7, then you could just get S there. So depend on what you want there. Like ls minus L here, you have this line. If I just want to cut this one, I could say ls minus L and then cut minus character 1 through 10. Let's say through 12 or something. So if through 12, I could cover all of them. If I want the first 3 only, I could say, get me only and those 3 and there. If I want the first 4, including the following, I could do that one with cut command. So cut also, you could say some kind of information here. Like here, I say, okay, search for any file with the extension. So ls minus L, notice that the file clear screen star.sh, clear screen star.sh. So now all the files are there. If I don't want the extension of these files, then I could say, just do this one, cut minus D delimiter, and then inside the delimiter is dot, and then I say, show me only field 1 of it. So now it's only showing the file name. But if I change the field 2 of them, then I get the .sh for all of them. So in order for me to just get it all good on this one, let me just show you this .text. So if I just do a star.text here, clear the screen, there's a lot of them, let's star.text. So I'm going to show you, if you do this one, say cut minus D delimiter dot minus F1, then it's only the file name. And then you could just do other commands on them to just list them. Since they're all with the .text, if I want to just make a copy of these one from .text to other ones, I could do that. And there's a lot of ways you can just cut and paste it and different. And I'm going to do those ones on the advanced level. So interactive shell programming, I'll cover those ones. But at this time, also know that similar to cut, you have this awk command. So you could say, for example, clear the screen, ls minus L, awk, and then print $1, that would be field 1. If I want to see $2, it would be that. And $3 would be user ID. And $4 would be group ID. And so on. If I just say $8, that is the timestamp, and $9 is the file names. All of those ones I could do it. And then I could even say something like this and say, well, read var do ls minus L, say cut. I mean, you could do the same thing is say echo $var and then done. This will just show the files. And if you just say in here echo $var and then say grep -i text, then it will just show only the text part of it. So interactive programming, I'll cover a lot more when we come to this option. These cat command and all those other commands are very useful, awk and other ones. df is just showing you what is the data format of the disk. So df-h in human readable. If you just do df by itself, it gives you all in that kind of format. And the clear screen df-h / the root partition, df-h for var partition, df-h for user, and df-ht for type, and then the extended for file system, whatever file system you want to do. So etc fstat file has the file system, and since we're not using extended for as xfs, so I could say df-h t xfs. xfs is extended file system, and then if I have it on this file cat tempfs, like swap is there and then other ones are there, then you can get those file extension. So that is df command. And then what is df? It just tells you what is report file system on disk space usage. And df and disk usage is also very useful command. So disk usage -sh star.sh, you could see the size of all those files are small. So if I say, what about the compressed file, the tar file, and then I say disk usage -star.tar, then you can see that it's about 60 kind of megabyte. This is 60 kilobyte, 61 kilobyte. And that's what that file is. If you are looking for a bigger file, then obviously, if I just go on the disk usage /sh, and then home, Wahidullah, and let's say on everything here, Wahidullah start, and then disk usage /sh, home. I must have typed in something there of, otherwise it should give you like 2.5 gig. So just looking at the programs, you can see 2.4 gigs, and then Python, how many of the 41 meg shells there. And if I just want to know under programs, all of them, I put an asterisk and everything is there. And if I want to see them one line at a time, obviously I just type in 5 more here, and it will just stop one screen at a time, and it will give you disk usage for it. This is very handy when you're looking for like this df-h for var partition, and then you say, oh, var partition is currently 9, yesterday was 9, why did it all of a sudden jump to 100%? Maybe var log messages or something got filled up. So under the var log, there's files that they could just grow. And if you just say disk usage -sh var, I'm sorry, clear screen, disk df-h var, and then you say disk usage -sh var log, then you can see that var log is not being open, so that means you have to do it with sudo. And then with sudo, you can just run the same command and get the output there. Sorry, I'm going a little bit too fast for this one, because these videos sometimes, no matter how fast you go, it's a long video. And df is covered def to show the difference between the two files. So like, for example, I could say def between this and this.txt, and the line that are changed, it will say that, okay, this line has changed on the first input file, and then this is on the second one. As you can see, if I look at the this file, it has this one. So this less than sign means the first source, and then this one is the second one, the second source. So when you compare them, if there's any file in there, let's say I say echo 10, and then I just add to the file this. This symbol means append to the end of that. So now if I say this, it has that one. And if I look at the def command between them, it says 1,2 change to line 1, meaning that these two lines, if you want to make it consistent, you have to change those two lines on the first file. And that's what def is. You can also do def between directories. So now, like, if I go out here and then clear my screen and then say pwd, notice I have Python directory and I have clear screen s-ld Python, and also I have shells. So those two directories that are there, and if I just want to not long listing of it, and then do this for these two, it shows that they're basically those two directories are there. If I want to get only the listing of them, then I do this. So now if I say run the def command between them, def command, and then it's going to show what is the difference. And then all the files that are different is going to be shown here. The lines and everything for the directories. So let's just say I'm going to clear a screen and say, I'm going to say make dir new one and make dir new two. So def between new one is with new two. There's no difference. Echo $ question mark there. Now I go to new one and then tar xvf / all sh tar. I am exiting the tar. I did not see it. Let me see what it was the name I called it. Oh, I'm on a different directory. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I have to be on the shell directory. So let me just rm these two directory first. rm dir new one, and then rm dir new two. I could have done it in one shot too, but let's just do cd to shells, make directory a new one, and make directory new two. So now def of new one and new two, no difference. But I want to say cd to new one, cd to a new one, sorry for the typo. So now I'm on the new one. I want to just say on this other directory, there's an all --sh.tar. I want to extract that one. Okay. So if I just do this one without this, I know that that file exists. So I'm going to say tar xvf / all --sh.tar. And now inside the new one, I have these files. So I'm going to go out here, and now I say def new one and new two. Now notice how many of them are showing. All of these ones are showing that they're different. So this is what is good. The new and def is going to detect it. But if I just do a copy, I could do a tar of it, but I want to show you the copy command. Earlier I told you that has an option of this. So if I say new two, and then I say on the new one, whatever it is there, copy it here. So I could say copy -rp ..new one and put it here. Now on the new two, by using this -r recursively, meaning any subdirectory, any file that was there, -p meaning the option, preserve the permission. This .. means go to the parent directory called new one and then copy everything from there and put it here. So now I have everything on the I'm on this one as new one. So I don't want to have it as new one. I want to just have it as content of it. So I'm going to cd to new one, and then I say okay, move everything to .. and then clear the screen here. Here now I have a directory new one in addition to on the new two. So I'm going to just say rm dir new one. You could do that one easily. So this is now clearing the screen. pwd new two is there, and new one and new two. Those two directories are there. And then let's just do ls minus ld on them. And then I'm going to say def new one and new two, and there's no difference. So that is how we did it. Sorry, $sign question mark. And so that is how we did it. And here is the test. Nothing. And then code $sign question mark is 0. And so let's just do another way. cd to new 2 rm star. So now I wipe out everything on the new 2. There's nothing here. I'm gonna do the same copy that we did earlier. This time, instead of putting let's say slash copy. Okay, history, clear screen, and then history, and then grep minus I cp. Okay, the copy command and that are there as one of these commands are there. I'm just gonna type it in. It's faster that way. So if I just look at this one as empty, I'm gonna say copy minus rp dot dot and then new one star into this. Now this one is created here, but there's no file called new one this time, which is good. We didn't have to remove the directory, move it out. And so this is the syntax that you want to just copy from the other directory, all the content of it, and then don't just create a new directory, new one. If you just do it this way, it will create a new one as the directory. If that's your intention, that's fine. But make sure you understand what you're doing. So here, and def between new one and new two is the same. So now I'm gonna go back again on the, let's just say, this time say rm minus rf new two. So new two is there, but this time I say copy minus rp new one as new two. I don't even have to have the directory in order to do those one, new two, and those two are there. So if I just say def new one, new two, notice how copy is flexible. I just did that one, I code $sign question mark, and it is all the same, the two files. And then if I just say ls minus ld new one star and do a word count on them, you can see it's 32. And then the same thing with the second one. And if I just used a question mark here, and instead of one character, I could say, show me any files that are there. The two of them, or new one and new two, are going to show that is 64 combined numbers, which are accurate. And if I say echo 64 divide by 2 pipe calculator, basic calculator, you can see that it's going to give you the same thing. So a number of things with these tools that you're doing. I'm not just showing you this simple mathematics. We cannot do it with our memory just on top of our head. But the one that we want to do is, if there's more complex, you could just use that one or a GNOME calculator. And just open it in a graphical user interface. And here you could just change it to scientific and other kind of format also. So you could do that one as well. The mode that I want to do it, if you change it to advanced mode, you could get scientific, and financial mode, you get that, and you could just programming mode, you could get in binaries and hexadecimal keyboard mode. Whichever mode you prefer, you have this option. So advanced mode is very nice because It gives you all the sine, cosine function, logarithmic function, things that you could do, 10 to the power of pi function, and so on. And this is very cool. So, and here, what else is the command we can type in? Dir name and base name. Dir name and base name are very cool. So, what is a dir name? Sorry, clear skin. What is a dir name? And it says a parse a path component. So it gives you the directory and name, and then what is base name? It gives you the base name of the file. So what does that mean? If I have the command say file, let's say we have been using the command gunzip, right? So if I say which gunzip command or which copy command, so there or there, I could say where is copy command? It where is gunzip command? So it tells you that the binary that are being used for it, whereas a compress command. And so compress data is what is, where is a compress command? And then you can see here the compress command. This is just the manual pages, whereas uncompressed command. So they are only we have the what they call it, man pages, but on the gunzip you have these binaries also. So if I say clear a screen, which gunzip, that's the path, and if I say base name of gunzip, you can see it is going to give you that, but base name of user ben gunzip, it will tell you that the base name is this. But if I want to do a dir name, then you get the user ben. That's the difference. So the user ben is there. So if I say another command, let's say calendar command, which sorry, clear the screen. Let's say check fs, which check fs, or which not check fs, which ckfs, file system checker, which file system checker, and then that's a user bin to scan the file for errors and other ones. So I say base name user bin, user sbin file system checker, and then dir name user sbin file system checker. So whatever you type in, the dir name of that one is actually the directory name. Whatever is the base name is the binary, the last file after the last slash. So if I say what is pwd, which pwd base name of user ben pwd, user ben pwd is pwd, and dir name of it is user ben for pwd is user ben. So that one you understand that. The next command is disk usage, which I already showed you earlier. Eject is for ejecting the CD-ROM, so we don't have a CD-ROM. Clear the screen. When you do a mount command, it shows what is mounted. df-h also shows you what's mounted. If you have a CD-ROM mounted, then you say eject/CD-ROM, and then it will eject it. Whatever is mounted, you can unmount it by ejecting it, DVD or CD-ROM. So the next command is environment. Let me just go to this next page. Eject environment. Okay, so environment is the command is going to just give you this list of system environment variables. This environment covers the global variables, and then a set covers both the global as well as local. So set pipe more will give you all the local variables as well as global variables. System global variables are those, and then local variables that you're creating it there will also show with the set. And so, and then clear screen. env is showing you all the global variables here. So this is the environment variables. So like, for example, env grep path, and that's path is there. Grep, let's say home directory, home is there. pwd is there. And you have to type in with uppercase. If you don't do it in uppercase, you have to do -i lowercase and then pwd in upper. Whatever case you do, it will find it. So if you just want it in like that, the pwd matches automatically. And so there's a lot of environment variables. You could always set your own environment variables. Since I'm using PS with bash, since the shell is bash, the export command will set the variable. So if I say x is equal 10 and export name is equal Wahid, so clear the screen, export x is equal 10 and then export name is equal Wahid. So I typed the T without the T in last time export. That's why I cleared the screen. Now if we say echo $x, it will have that value and $name. And it is case sensitive. You cannot say uppercase N, that's not defined. Or lowercase x, you cannot say lowercase x, that's not defined. But if you do those variables, and then you say, give me the variable, env now, grep x, you could see that all the variables that are there, one of them is x is equal 10. So if I just say x is equal 10, then it will just only list that one. Or search for a name, it will search that. But sometimes grep, you can also use egrep for expression grep. You can do more than one command. So you can say x is equal 10, just show me those two. And then if you say egrep, show me home, show me pwd, show me path, and so on. You could just get all of those variables with egrep also. This is how you look at those ones. And then unset is the opposite of set. So when you set x, now $x does not have any value anymore because we unset it. And then the opposite of export is unexport or unset. And then also, if you're using C shell, clear the screen, which C shell is not there, maybe because they provide which true C shell. And that's not also there, so you could do sudo dnf install through C shell. This one will just install it. And then I say, yeah, go ahead and install it. Now, if I just go through C shell, which through C shell, this is a binary file user ben tc shell. My default shell was bash. If I just jump into tc shell, now I'm on a through C shell syntax, which is C-like syntax. It's an enhanced version of C shell. So this one is going to be different set of commands. So instead of export, I could do set env x, and instead of equal, I say 10 here. Now I say echo $x, it will just do it. So again, if I say echo $PS1, it's pointing to that. I could just change my shell, say export, I actually clear the screen and say set env PS1 is equal percentage. That way I know that I'm on a C shell. Not equal sign. There's no equal sign on set. So now I say that one, and this is still kicking in with the other one. So echo $PS1, somehow it is set to PS1, and then excuse me. And so I'm going to show you how to unset something. So set env x is equal x is 20. So now I just changed the value of x to 20. I'm going to say unset env x, and now the x has no value for it, undefined variables. And then here the status code is question mark status, because whenever it is not defined, if you say set env x is equal 100, then you say echo $x, and then you say give me the status of it, it says 0 successful. So that's C shell. And then right here you could see that I'm on the prompt shell that is through C shell. Every time you open another shell, you're going to just get in there. Now, if I exit out of this one, I'm on the previous one. Echo $$ is going to show the 19533, which is my true C shell. If I exit one more time and then clear a screen here, actually not clear a screen so you can see the difference. And then bash is there, echo $, is going to show the cross ID. If I go to which C shell, since I installed the true C shell, it also installed C shell, I could also get into C shell here. So PS is here, C shell again, go another shell. And go to TC shell, another C shell. PS, now I'm on through C shell. Open another bash. As you just open it, notice that the shells are getting added. Exit out of this one, now I'm on through C shell. Exit out of that one, I'm going to be on C shell. Exit out of that one, I'm on the last C shell. Exit out of that one, I'm on the bash. I don't want to exit out, otherwise it will close my bash, and then I have to open another one with the same prompt. So that is covering on these commands. We covered environment, file, and find. Oh, find it was actually on this chapter. That's good. So I could cover that one. I was thinking that this I put it on the other ones, but it is going to be covered there. So file also shows you what type of file they are. So if you have a file called star intermediate.sh, and then let's just say I'm just doing this, say file star intermediate.sh star.sh, it will just say that it's a bourne shell. If I say file this, it's a text file. File star.sh, they're all bourne shell. Clear the screen, cd to Python, clear screen here, ls star.py. All these are Python programs. So file star.py, they're showing you Python script as key text. So let's see if I just have a program in other languages. So I could say which PWD and file user bin PWD. You could see that it's executable. But PWD is also a bash command line that is available. Sometimes certain files are physical exist there, which locate or where is ls and then user bin. So file user bin ls is just executable link format. Any file that are binary, it will just show that one. So sometimes certain files or also shared object files that you could get the dynamic link library LDD on user bin ls. I will just show you all the dynamic link library that are being linked with it. So we will cover those one on chapter 4. But file is just basically show you the top of file. So if you're looking file start.c++, and if you have file.c++, it will just say C++ source code. Anything with .py would be this. It does not matter, just because if you just say touch this .c++, this does not make the file C++. So if I say this.c++, it's still a text file, it's an empty file. Notice that it is there, C++, so it is not there. So just because I name it so, does not make it so. So rmthis.c++, let's go to C++ directory, and then see, I have some files here that are C++. So .c++, you can see here, let's start.c++, and if I say file start.c++, they're all showing C++ source code. And if I just have a C program, clear screen, CD to C, and then here, notice I have these C programs. I could say file start.c, they're all C source code. So if I just have executable, like let's say clear screen, sorry, not clear screen, say hello.c is there, hello.c is there. So I could say, well, let's compile this one. I say gcc -o, hello, and then the name of the source is hello.c. So now I created this hello out of that source file, and it's executable. So if I say file hello star, you can see the hello.c is the source code, and then the other one is executable. So if I want to run hello program, you can see that it's just running hello world, welcome to MyWebUniversity. Similarly, if I go to C++, and then this one, let's see if I have a hello program there. Notice the content of the other file on the C program, hello.c, had this file, include the standard io.h and main. Based on this content, it knew that this was a C code. But now cat hello.c++ on this directory, this is a C++. And notice that I'm using IO string, and then a string and all that information, hello world, the string, and then C out, and then namespace, all of that one, or syntax of C++. So if I say file hello.c++, it just says C++ source code. Now, if I just compile it, I'm using a different version of compiler, which is called G++ for C++, -o hello, and then the source code is hello.c++. Now file hello is executable format. File hello.c++ is text. So running hello, it will just say the program what it's supposed to produce. And this executable link format is telling you that. The LDD command is showing you the link, dynamic link for it. It is that in addition to what are the shared object, these $so is a shared object. Dynamically, anything that gets loaded, they will be getting at runtime, which is PLDD, process and LDD directory. So we covered the find command. Oh, and the find command. So here, if I just say I'm on this directory, if I say find dot minus name star dot C++, this one will just list all the files with .c++, meaning that find from the current directory any file with the extension .c++. If I just say once you find it, just do an exact -l and then run this command, say show me a long listing of it, and then you could do that one. But if you say well, this is good, I want to see only if the file is hello.c++. Hello.c++. And then now you say, well, I saw that one, I liked it, I want to just show the word count on it, word count minus L on that file, see how many file line are there. But in this case, it's not parsing it. I have to do this one with the in loop, clear the screen. Let's see. I'm gonna cat it first, cat, and then. So this one will actually say, once you find hello.c++, then show the content of it. If I was say cat minus n, it will show the line numbers also. And then if I'm interested inside here with another command like grep minus I main, I could only see the line main on the sixth column. And if I just don't see the line number, what line numbers not relative to me, relevant to me, then I just don't care. So let's do the same thing with the cat command here. We did this. It shows that. So earlier I was saying that you could also do ls for it. You will see all the files that are there long listing, but we're not gonna do a star. We didn't do a star, we said hello.c++. So if I say cat, this will show this, and then, but what I was earlier wanted to show one other command on here. If I want to see disk usage on it, disk usage of that file, it will say that is how much it is. If I want to do not info, cat command was good. We could see the content of it. If I want to say make a copy of this file, I could also do this thing like this, and then say find this one, and then you could say while read the var and do copy $var to $var.back. And now done. Now I have hello.c++.back also. As you can see, we just created hello.c++.back. And then this is the same file, ls, the same file as the other one. So catting this one, concatenating this one will show the same file there. Since I don't need it, I could say rm hello.c++.back. Find command is very useful. So earlier we were showing you on the shell scripts, shells here. I could say, for example, show me all the files that are the user ID or Wahid Lutfi, or the group, the permissions are there, or the size is certain things. So you could do all of those ones with the find command here. Clear screen find minus type of them is the directory. So any file that are there, find dot minus type is a regular file. Find dot minus type is a symbolic link. Minus file is executable or something. So you can do a lot of things with find. Find dot minus name dash perm is 644. So let's see, man find, and then say a perm. For the permission, you could say dash perm, and then you could say, give the permission the mode. So in this case is let's see if any files. I'm gonna say touch Wahid and Wahid 1 and Wahid 2. So let's say I created this Wahid star, I created these files, and then in order for me to just say there are permission 664. So then I say find dot minus name star, minus perm is a 664. Then it's going to list all of those ones. And if I just say it starts with something with Wahid, Wahid star, then it's going to only list those ones that are there. And if I just say minus exact here and let's minus L, that way I could see them actually that I'm right. I found out the files that are having read write by the owner and group and others are read, then it's 664, then it's listed there. And then since there are 0 bytes, I could just say once it finds it and they're there, I don't need it anymore, just delete it. Now they're done. With that RM command, it is done here. So now if I just say, show me anything with that file that are there, nothing, it did not find anything. And then echo $? Run successfully, but it did not find anything there. So that's your find command. There's a lot of things you can do with the find command. Finger is just to find a user. So like, for example, you say, let's say finger XYZ at some domain.com. And then it will just find out that user information. Finger is actually a DNS command that on a certain port, you can just find out the user ID of that one. And sometimes there was a joke about these things about the tech support. Who am I? Type in who am I to find out who you are. And the person says, I know who I am. Why should I type in ID? It says to identify yourself. He says, I'm telling you, I know who I am. Why do I have to type in those commands? He said, now finger that user. And then he's like, oh, you're joking with me. You're just like teasing me all the time. So all these kind of commands are funny commands also that they come up with these names. But try to make a good sense of it. A good sense of humor always is appreciated with everybody. And then try to be polite to everybody. So here we're typing the next command is grep command, what is command, and group command. So next command, grep command. Grep is very useful. You say grep minus I, let's say red from etc os -release. So anywhere the word red is shown, you could do this one. If you look at it from red hat -release, you could just say ls minus L and then ls minus L and then you say grep minus I Wahid. So everywhere that is the word Wahid is there. Grep is by default the alias grep, it has this color. So whatever you type in with the grep command, it will just show that match in this. So if I say echo, this is a test, this is a test, and then say grep test, and now you see that word is there. So if I just want more than one character, then I say egrep for a regular expression, expression grep, global regular expression print. E is extended global regular expression, or you could just say expression or extended. So if I word for search for this as well as, then I could do both of those. So wherever is the word this is that, and if I just use this one only, it did not find it in lowercase, and then this is there. So if I want to do this other one, I say grep minus I, and then that would just match with case sensitivity, ignored. And then here, if I just do minus V, this one will just say, find me anything that is not this character. So that will just be everything but, that's the command. So if I just say ls minus L, and then say ls minus L, grep minus V Wahid, since I have on every line Wahid, I'm not getting any output here. But if I want to say grep only 369 here, grep the number 369, which is in that column, I just saw it. So you could grep for anything. And then now if you say grep this one and then grep minus v dot search, right away you miss everything because there's only one match. But if you are looking for a star dot search first, grep you're looking for a star dot search here, grep dot search first, it matches more. And now you're saying that grep minus v 1147. So everything by the 1147 will be listed. And then if you say now grep only z dot search, it only show you that one. But then you don't need to do all this other extra work. You could just do this if you're looking for z dot search, or just say z dot search. Why do you have to even do a grep? So make sure that you don't type extra that is unneeded. If it is not necessary to type too many characters, don't do it. Here I'm going to just see, yeah, clear screen. So more chapter 3-cmds.txt. We were talking about environment, finger, grep command, what is, and groups. So what is basically tells you what is the command used for. What is date command, what is calendar command, what is host name command. So any command that you do what is on it, it will tell you what is that command, where is or which. It tells you the command, what is that command. And then the other command that we wanted to cover was groups. Groups is like ID. Clear the screen. ID will give you this information in groups and tells you what the groups you belong. So like, for example, grep minus I Wahidullah, Wahid, and on ATC groups, group file, then you see that I belong to this group as well as that group there. So my group by default is those two. And then if I do ID minus ID dash UG, dash U is giving you this, and this UN would give me the name, and then group name would also give me groups. So, but if I just don't say dash GN for the name, it will give you on the numbers dash G. So groups also, it tells you that groups are there. Groups dash G or say man groups, see if there's argument. There's only the dash dash version. So, but ID has all that information. What was the next command? Groups, gunzip we already covered. egrep we already covered. Kill and last command and link. Clear the screen. Okay, so I'm running here a command. Let's say I'm going to just open another terminal here, and I say a gnome dash calculator. So notice this gnome calculator is running, and then here the gnome calculator is still active here, because if I do alternate tab, right here the calculator. But if I just come back on this one, then I say ps minus efa grep minus I, and then I say for calculator, calculator is the process, so I could just kill this process and the calculator will terminate. So kill minus 9 and then 11045. That one just killed the process. 11045. No such process. Let me just make sure the calculator is still running. Yeah, it is running. So this grep command, we did the calculator. The process was not that for some reason. Let me just kill that process, kill minus 9, 11, 0, 6, 1. And no such process again. So the way that the process for the calculator has been changing on us. Notice that every time you run it, it has a different process ID on it. Let me just do grep minus v grep. I think that was the reason. So on this command, the calculator was not there. I must have typed something wrong. Let me just look for it. Gnome dash cal. Okay, that is the process ID. Gnome calculator is 11 0 15. So cal minus 9 11 0 11 0 15. And then doing that one now, calculator is gone. You can see here it's gone. And then here, okay, here the calculator is showing that it's killed. So if I just respawn this one, and instead of doing finding the process ID, this time I'm going to look for this one, say that show me the calculator, and it shows that process. I could just say pkill process kill, and then type in gnome calculator like that. Now that process ID got killed by itself because we did this one. But let's see, the process doesn't die. The reason it didn't die because of this dash F for option forcing it, but pkill, it will just terminate it. Now the pkill is gone, the calculator, and if I do search for that process, it's not there anymore. Echo $? Meaning that it did not find it. But if I just do this one again and just run it one more time, and then just to prove it to you that you can, when you do the pkill, you have to do forset minus F. Now this time the calculator is terminated and the process is no longer there. And if you just do a grep on it, it is not there. Echo $? Question mark also showing you 0, meaning, or 1, meaning that it terminated. That process does not exist anymore. And this is that 1 mean when it doesn't find that process. So the next command we want to cover on this one was inject, kill, last, and link. Last command is very simple. So if you do this, you could just like etc os-release. You could say last etc os-release. It's just basically shows you the last lines or their man last shows a listing of last logged in user. Sorry, last is not like less. Less is the actual file. I was thinking something else. So last is like who is logged on the system, the last user that are logged on, and then wtemp is the file that it reads it. So last head -5, it shows that I logged on and I'm still logged on today. And there. So let's look at the next command. Last, and then a link, and then ln, and then pgrep. Pgrep we already covered. Where's we covered? Which we covered. So if I cover a link in ln, we will be done with this video. So let me just do this. At this time, I'm going to say this is a file, start.sh. So if I just create a file called a simple file, cat this.txt, we have that one. And if I just say a link -s this.txt, and I could just call it t, now the file exists. So I'm going to remove t. I don't need to have that one. And then this file just creates a long listing. Now this .txt and T. Notice the T is symbolic link to this one. Notice the first character says L. If I just say file L, it says that's a symbolic link. I'm sorry, clear the screen, file T. File T is a symbolic link to this one. ls minus L this.txt and T, they're both showing. Cat T is going to show this.txt. So that's what symbolic link means. Whatever is a pointer to that other file. And then the link is hard link. The -s, when we created the T, we can create as many files, whether it's symbolic link or hard link. Symbolic link, because they have a pointer to an alias, it is good that it is going to be used. But a hard link, they have a different inode numbers versus symbolic link. So what I'm going to do is say, create one more symbolic link, link minus s, this dot text, and call it f for this too. So notice that L minus I, this dot text, f, and t. All these three, the symbolic, the inode numbers are different. The inode numbers are different. So that means that they are just going to be available on this file system. And then the inode numbers are not the same. But if I just create a symbolic hard link using link command of this.txt, and say link 1, and then also create a link 2, those two files. Now this.txt, link 1 and link 2, they're all there. Deleting one of them has nothing to do with the other one. The other one will still exist and it will still have it. But notice the inode number of the hard link, they're all the same hard link. That means that if I just remove link 2, and then click on type in link 1, it still is going to show this. And if I just recreate link 2 here and there, and then I say cat link 2, it is there. Sorry, let me just clear screen. Cat link 2, it will just be there. So the other way, I could also say rm link 1 and link 2, and then I could also say use the link without -s. You could say this dot text and link 1, and then the link 2, link 3. No matter how many times you create them, these files link 4. So no matter how many times you create them, they will just get created with this this.txt and link start. So notice that they're all there. And then if I just want to see the inode number of it, -i, you could see they are all having the same inode number. And then carrying a link 5 will just be the same as link 1, and the same thing as link 3, and so on. And same thing with 4, and so on. Clear the screen. Cat edc os dash release. Once again, I want to thank you for your time. I showed you how to use intermediate level commands. Some of them were basic, some of them were intermediate, some of them were advanced, depending on what level you are. And you're welcome to just go through those PDF documentation on my website and start learning Linux, Red Hat. Red Hat is very cool operating system. It has a lot of graphical user interface as well as command line. And then again, please don't forget to subscribe at our channel and enjoy watching everything on the website here. And thanks for your time. Take care. Bye-bye. Let me close the video.